Donald Trump had already been charged under the Espionage Act for stashing top-secret documents at his Mar-a-Lago mansion. But overnight, the Department of Justice added yet more potentially serious crimes to the charge sheet, alleging for the first time that they had evidence that Trump had requested security camera footage of where the boxes were being stored to be deleted. The new charges are included in the indictment here. And the camera footage is central to the DOJ's case because it believes that Trump tried to move the boxes to obstruct its investigation and to hide secret documents from the FBI. And those movements have been caught on camera. The new indictment describes a conversation between Trump's property manager, named Carlos de Oliveira, who told another worker, named as Trump Employee 4, that the boss wanted the server deleted. Employee 4 replied that he didn't believe he had the rights to do that, but de Oliveira insisted the boss wanted the server deleted and asked, "What are we going to do?" One man who knows about the pitfalls of working for Trump is Michael Cohen, who went to prison for crimes he committed while working as Trump's lawyer and fixer.
This is so part of the Trump playbook that when I heard it on television, it didn't surprise me at all. Everybody running around, you got to take care of the boss, do what the boss says.
The boss gave an interview overnight to a conservative radio host, characteristically shrugging off the new charges.
If, going forward, right, you get these indictments, there ends up, you got a jury in D.C., you get convicted and sentenced. Does that stop your campaign for president if you're sentenced?
Not at all. There's nothing in the Constitution to say that it could, and not at all. And even the radical left crazies are saying, no, that wouldn't stop.
And nor will any criminal charges ever turn the Trump loyalists away. Not over top secret documents, nor a potential new slate of charges to come about Trump's alleged role in the January the 6th riot. They will stick with him come what may. The bigger question for defendant Trump is whether the American public at large will ever back him again.
Well, let's talk now to the American lawyer, former prosecutor and private defence attorney, Linda Kenny-Barden. Linda, tell me, more charges for Mr. Trump. What are the significance of these charges?
Well, these are really interesting charges. They're more severe in the sense of, one, is a willful retention of a top secret document. Remember, the other indictment that we had, and this is what's called a superseding indictment, which added 3 counts, was that he just didn't hand over documents that they wanted, that the government wanted. This says he willfully retained one, and it was top secret. And he showed it to people who don't have any clearance at his golf course in the state of New Jersey, and apparently concerned whether or not we were going to invade or have military invasion of Iran. So this becomes a very important charge. More importantly, they added 2 other charges, and that was for basically almost an obstruction of justice, because it charges in count 70, I think it's 71 to 91 of the indictment, of the new indictment, that Trump wanted this server. He wanted this server deleted. And this was after the government came looking for documents and said, look, they served a subpoena for the server, for the pictures, for the audio, for the video, and we want it. And then after he got that subpoena, he went and to his people, according to what this indictment seems to infer, and says, I want everything deleted. And then we have the addition of the maintenance man, the head maintenance man, Carlos Oliveira, along with Walter Nalta, getting charged again. So this becomes a count that's really easy to prove.
So more serious charges, but Mr. Trump, perhaps predictably, not seeming too bothered, calling the prosecutor deranged, saying once again it's an illegal witch hunt. Is there a tipping point at which he faces so many charges or so many serious charges that he starts to allow himself to be worried, or will that point never come?
I don't think we have seen that because number one, he knows that unless the Senate convicts him of treason under the US Constitution, he can still be president, even if he's convicted of these charges. And if he's convicted, he will appeal. And therefore, if he's elected, he will be president. Could he be president from a jail cell? I'm not sure about that. But his base loves him. And all the people that follow him, all the other Republican candidates want his base. So they don't want to alienate his base because they don't care whether the whole United States burns down. They don't think the system is helping them, and Trump is the person that they believe is trying to help them, and that the U.S. government who's in place is just trying to get rid of him because his interest is not the same interest of 40% of the people that voted for him in the last election.
And it's not the end of it, though, is it? Because there are other charges likely to be laid against Mr. Trump.
That's absolutely right. We already know about the one in the state of New York for false documents concerning the payments of Stormy Daniels, and you had the lawyer who was involved in that on earlier. We have the one that may come out next week. That is whether or not he conspired against the United States government to overthrow the government. That's called the J6 indictment. We do expect that next week, and we also expect in the next 2 weeks charges out of the state of Georgia, where he's going to be charged, I believe, with trying to again overthrow the election and talk about having electors that were going to falsely vote for him, falsely give 12,000 votes for him when he didn't have electors that could have turned the election for him. So I think we're expecting at least 2 more indictments plus the 2 that he already has.
So where do you think this goes? Because President Trump, Mr. Trump, clearly not bothered. You say his base loves him and they perhaps even like all of this. But the wider American public, where does this sit with them?
Well, we saw that it was rejected when President Biden was elected by most Americans. Most Americans voted for President Biden by a large majority. And then we had the Electoral College here in the United States, which kind of made it a little bit closer. So I don't think most Americans they're just going to like stand forth. The Biden supporters or the Democratic supporters are going to stand forth. And I don't think the independents like this. Look, we want to be America. We want to be respected across the seas. We want to be respected by our allies, by England, by everyone. And how can we, when we have a president of the United States who appears to be giving away top secret to anyone who may pass his doors? And what else may happen? I don't know.
Linda Kenny Baden, thanks very much for talking to us.